South Korea, also known as the Republic of Korea, is a remarkable example of a country that transformed itself from a struggling economy into a prosperous and modern one in just a few decades. Prior to the 1970s, South Korea was not a good economy and was largely dependent on foreign aid and loans to support its economy. However, with determined efforts and effective policies, the country turned around its fortunes and became a leader in technology, innovation, and trade. The South Korean economy in the 1950s and 1960s was characterized by poverty, corruption, and political instability. The country's main exports were low-quality agricultural products, and the manufacturing industry was underdeveloped. Furthermore, the Korean War had left the country devastated, and it was heavily reliant on foreign aid to meet its basic needs. The turning point for South Korea came in the 1970s, when it began to adopt policies that promoted export-led growth and industrialization. The government focused on developing its manufacturing sector and supporting industries such as steel, chemicals, and electronics. Additionally, it invested heavily in infrastructure projects such as roads, ports, and power plants to create a conducive environment for economic growth. One of the most significant policies introduced during this time was the Saemaul-undong, or the New Village Movement, which aimed to modernize rural areas and improve the living standards of farmers. The program focused on improving agricultural productivity, building infrastructure, and providing education and training to farmers. The Saemaul-undong was hugely successful, and it helped to reduce poverty and stimulate rural development. The South Korean government also implemented policies that encouraged foreign investment and exports. It established free trade zones and provided tax incentives to attract foreign companies to invest in the country. The government also encouraged the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises by providing financial support and training programs. The results of these policies were impressive. South Korea's GDP grew at an average rate of 7.3% per year between 1970 and 1990. And its per capita income increased from $100 to over $10,000 during the same period. The country became a global leader in industries such as electronics, semiconductors, and shipbuilding. South Korea has experienced one of the largest economic transformations of the past 60 years. It started as an agriculture-based economy in the 1960s, and it became the 11th largest economy in the world in terms of gross domestic product, GDP, in 2016. How did the industrialization miracle take place? Factors in South Korea's economic success. Many studies attribute South Korea's structural transformation to policy reforms aimed at opening the country to foreign markets. Indeed, the export-oriented policies of South Korea are one of the most important factors of its success. South Korea is now one of the top 10 exporters in the world, and its exports as a percentage of GDP increased from 25.9% in 1995 to 56.3% in 2012. Two additional factors have contributed to the increase in international trade and industrialization in South Korea. An improvement in the business environment. Policies, incentivizing investment in innovation. Environment and innovation. First, a strong business environment fosters growth in the domestic market and attracts foreign investors. According to the World Bank, South Korea is ranked number 4 in terms of the overall Ease of Doing Business Index in 2018, while the U.S. is ranked number 6. South Korea dominates in the ease to start a business and enforcing contracts. All of them play a significant role in encouraging investment, production, communication, and eventually economic growth. Second, South Korea has devoted extra attention to technology development and innovation to promote growth. Innovation and technology are the key factors that have underpinned South Korean export competitiveness and fueled the country's remarkable economic rise over the past decades. In fact, South Korea is now spending the largest share of its GDP on research and development, even larger than the US and Japan, two of the global leaders in innovation based on R&D intensity. Between 1996 and 2015, South Korea's R&D intensity grew 88.5%, from 2.24% in 1996 to 4.23% in 2015, while the U.S.'s only grew 14.4%, from 2.44% in 1996 to 2.79% in 2015. Challenges for South Korea. Even though South Korea has been successful at promoting exports, its business environment and innovation, challenges still remain, including many from China. Chinese competition is one challenge. Policymakers in China have also been emphasizing the importance of high-skill manufacturing and exports. This could have a negative impact on South Korea, as China has traditionally been a large importer of South Korean goods. China is also catching up fast in innovation. Its R&D intensity has been approaching the levels of the US and Japan. Furthermore, given South Korea's relatively limited geographical size, natural resources, and population size, an aging population aggravates the threat that South Korea's economy might fall behind its fellow developed countries. To maintain sustainable economic growth, South Korea needs to continue its support in innovation and a favorable business environment. The Japanese model of development has transformed not only its own economy, but also that of the entire region. In the 1960s, Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and South Korea, later known as the Four Tigers, followed their Japanese counterparts through a similar developmental path, with comparable strengths and endemic problems. In 1945, the Asian tigers had a lack of natural resources and a small amount of farmland. They were also overpopulated, poor, and could not feed their own populations. Not surprisingly, they had low capital resources for development, and thus they faced some of the same general problems as Japan. The standard Third World model for development is to increase agricultural production and to mine gold, silver, or other natural resources the country has for export. Following Japan's lead. Like their neighbor Japan, the Asian tigers embarked on a strategy to build cheap export manufactures using the same low-wage labor that could undersell first-world products. Japan had captured its markets by underselling textiles made in the United States and Europe in the 1950s. Like the Japanese, Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and South Korea began in the textile industry. It required little capital investment, but a large number of low-skilled workers willing to work long hours assembling ready-to-wear garments. The Asian tigers captured the Japanese export market by underselling Japanese-made textiles in the 1960s. The Asian tigers competitively captured the export market and undersold Japanese-made textiles during the 1960s. It was partly the emergence of these cheaper products, as well as the accumulation of capital, that pushed the Japanese government into channeling its industries in a different direction and to leave the textile business in the 1960s. They replaced Japan as the low-wage, low-cost producers of the global economy. This was all for today. If you like this video, hit the like button. Also subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for watching more videos in future.